We live.
Okay, we are live, everybody. Yeah, faster countdown because we're live already. There you go. That was there you go. That was pretty good. That was pretty. We're still getting there. It's all good. Um, so this week we are a little bit off schedule. Usually we try and do every third week of the month, and we had to reschedule for this week, and we decided to have this conversation because it's really important topic to all of us here, and I think we have a good amount of writers in this group. I um, feel like the only thing I write is medical records and scripts, but I have people here that actually write and do a good job. So I want to mostly let them talk and explain everything. And I want to start doing a little intro for everybody that doesn't really know us too well, so that you know a little bit about us before we start. Dr. Sammy Morrissey, it's a veterinarian and founder of the Good Boys Club in Amsterdam. She identifies as a writer, and you can find her on Sammy the Vet on Substack. William Tancredi is a veterinarian and a practice owner writer. He's also on Dogs Fire on Substack. And then Greg Bishop, everybody knows him. I think the conversation on comedy is like actually being watched quite a bit, and super super proud and happy to have him here. Everybody knows his cartooning abilities, and I think that's a major art in our field nowadays. Thanks to Greg, I think everybody's like paying attention to comedy and how to make it uplifting and funny. He I guess Bill sent me this. He's an unquenchable creative. Well, you are known for your unquenchable creative impulses as a writer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Yeah. So, anyway, he's a writer, illustrator, cartoonist as well. David Diefenbach, he's a technology consultant, a career long, especially in VetMed, and a leader in the field. And Chris Tremblay, our, tech genius slash marketing expert, here to provide support and maybe help us out here and provide insight and help us keep this moving. So I appreciate everybody who's gonna watch later or watching right now. We're gonna talk about creative writing mostly, but the arts in veterinary medicine in general. So I'm basically just gonna sit here and listen for the most part. I have some questions I want to ask you guys, but I guess I guess the main person that would really wanted this was Bill. So I'm gonna start with you. Like, how does writing and vet med relate? Like, what the hell? What are we doing here?
What the hell are we doing here? So
Yeah.
I love writing. I call reading and writing were my first love. Like this is vet med is my profession, but to me, writing is I've heard it said like writing is how I enter the world, right? Like it's how I process what happens to me and what I see and what I feel and um, what I do every day. So I love it, right? Like it's where I aspire, dream, wonder, think, explore, decide. It's a place where you can be imperious, demanding, commanding, optimistic, critical, grateful, maudlin, mad, right? Like you make those ideas cohesive and coherent, and you can go from your head to reality and back again. And Stephen King called it telepathy, right? Like if I write about a rabbit sitting on a cage on a table, like you have that image in your head, like that is magic, that is power. I love that. Um, and it's just something that it's just always uh, I it's really how I kind of contribute, I think, to the profession and to a lot of things, right? Like I'm not much of a podcaster or public speaker. I'm no kind of cartoonist. I did go to Greg's lecture masterclass at AVMA, but I'm not any good at it. Like I this is something I can do and I love to do, and there's nothing to it. You just do it and keep going.
How's that helped like in your career though? Like, how do you like? like in your day to day, how's writing impact your career and how you enjoy being a vet and stuff like that?
So it's different than the conversations. We're all clinicians, right? Like well, respectfully, the veterinarians here are all clinicians, and those are spoken conversations, right? So it's harder to get deeper. It's harder to think more deeply. It's harder to do really dig in on some of those things. And writing, you can really, create and control and imagine the whole world that you put down on the page. And
Gotcha.
that's really potent, right? Like not just to convey the ideas or convey the information, but to change how people feel or think, or to persuade, to inspire, to enrage occasionally. To even if to provoke, right? Like you write to do these things that the word itself doesn't really do. But if you can be the architect and the arsonist all at once.
Yes.
Yeah, like you're in control, right?
Yeah, but like a creative control, right? Like not like a demanding kind of control. There was I think he was a Romanian sculptor who said, "Create like a god, command like a king, and work like a slave." Right? And I can't sculpt worth a damn. I've never tried, other than my kids' Play-Doh. But I think writing is that for me. It's like where you
Gotcha.
get to do that.
How about you, Sammy? Like, how does like writing help you, like, and relate to your work? Like, how do you combine like being a veterinarian and writing? How does that help you, like maybe vent a little bit or digest things or, or communicate things, like how do you relate it to your work, your actual clinical work?
Yeah, I think you definitely alluded to it there. I think one of the most important and powerful aspects of writing as a veterinarian is self expression and communication. Talking through a case that you went through, helping you to process something that you experienced. And I think a really important thing for us as vets is to be able to communicate truthfully the reality of our profession, what it's like in a day-to-day basis, the experiences that we have, the cases that we see, what it's really like to be a vet. I recently read just some junk novel, and the protagonist was a veterinarian, and I found it actually so nice that a protagonist as a veterinarian was accurately portrayed, particularly the financial situation of the vet and the stress that they encountered on a day-to-day basis, and some of
Yeah.
the interactions they had with, like irresponsible breeders and things like this, because people don't understand the reality of the profession. And I found it really helpful to sort of share what it's like to be a vet. And I think that that's a really important thing that I do, is communicate the experience of a veterinarian and what the reality of that is.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I comment?
We put that novel in the show notes. Someone's going to ask. We're going to have to put the novel in the show notes.
Yeah. It's just
For
like
sure.
junk fiction.
I know, I'm
But
not going to make you say it now.
I thought that was the
I'm
title.
embarrassed.
junk
No, it'll show up on our Goodreads. You can find it.
Yeah,
was
Bill's got an inside view on
Yeah,
it
yeah.
when I'm reading.
I was going to ask about like when you wrote about like just this really intense day that you had, like, and you didn't. So like that's one of the things where we talk to people outside of the profession. They're always surprised like by how difficult it is or all these challenges. And you wrote this piece that was like, I forget what it was, like things were stacking up, dying left and right, crazy, like, and you're
What
like,
does it take to be a veterinarian?
yeah, and it's like, and it's not even 9:45 a.m. yet, and it's just like you didn't spare any of that stuff. You really like put it without being like exploitative of the drama, or like it was just like, no, this is really like when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, like this is intense, but it's also like you're there as the person needing to deal with all this stuff, and it's like it's just kind of like it's interesting to have telepathy, to think like, okay, I kind of recognize where she is and she's conveying that. Like I imagine, well, I'm curious about the process of that. Like, was that when you were writing that piece, did you go through like, okay, I had this crazy day and I want to unpack it, or like, I just want to illustrate this to other people, or like, how do you get to that finished piece from the actual day and experience that you had?
I had shared individual bits of it on LinkedIn. So I write on LinkedIn and Substack. And LinkedIn is more like medium form content. So I'll write about like one case at a time. Or I had written sort of like a list of cases that I saw in a day. And I just saw that that had gotten a lot of traction. And okay, and I thought, let me expand on this day and tie that into what it really takes to be a vet, because people have such a poor understanding of what that is and what I do in a day. We're such a small profession, like outside of the vet that people go to, very few people know a vet personally. And I found myself at the end of a day kind of like venting to my friends in Amsterdam. None of my friends were vets, which is completely different to my social group in the US, because in the US, we're much more work centered our lives. So most of my friends are vets. But in Europe, it's completely person centered and work is adjacent. And so in Europe, none of my friends are vets. And so that was a really interesting shift. And I found myself kind of sharing or venting at the end of the day what it was like. And they were just kind of all shocked and they had no idea. And so I thought, okay, let me tell people what it's really like.
So it feels good to send the message out, I think, so that people get to understand, what we do. And I agree, like people really don't understand what our day to day is like, like by 10 o'clock, how much we've done, how many conversations we've had. It's just, pretty incredible careers, in terms of cramming in all these things that very few know what it feels like. So bringing it out there really helps us, kind of digest what we do as well, I think, in a way. And also, I think the big value in writing as veterinarians is that we can relate with each other about what we're writing, and it creates community. It creates like a feel like we're not alone, right? Even if you're reading an article, you're not even there with the person, but as you read it, you're like, yeah, that's pretty much how it feels like, or what life is like being a vet. So I think the community aspect of writing, I think is really valuable too.
Huge.
I
It's how we're
agree.
all here.
It is how
Yep.
we're all here,
Right?
and
It's
I,
how I know every single one of you.
it is,
Actually.
and it's really one of the. I think that touches on like one of the reasons I really love Substack as a writing medium is like if you want to find somebody who's writing about gardening in a stormtrooper outfit on Wednesdays, like somebody is writing about how to do that, right? Like like you can find your people, right? Like
Mhm.
I have a couple hundred subscribers on Substack, and I write about veterinary medicine and AI and technology and stuff. And somebody joked like, yeah, that's probably all of the people in the world who are interested about technology and veterinary medicine. Like that's the list, right? And it's kind of like it's kind of a way to find your people, right? Like you write these things down, and um you find the people find you, and they connect with you, right? They're like, oh my gosh, this piece that you wrote, like Sammy's piece, that what it's like man, that was a great bit of writing. And I can't like I how many people felt better for having read that, right? Like how many veterinarians felt like, man, somebody gets it, somebody's telling this story, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Like that's really a powerful thing.
Yeah, and I think just to add, the beauty of that was the authenticity. But also, I say this a lot. So if you hear me quote a lot, I always misquote it. But if I would have written you a long letter, but I didn't have or a short letter, but I didn't have the time. The idea that Sammy put structure to it. Didn't just a lot of times people will write and will just write a long stream of consciousness with structure to it. So I think it's worth thinking about that too. About sometimes we have a lot of ideas and thoughts, and I'm a writer who it doesn't brave enough to put it out there for feedback like everyone here. But so I've got hundreds of pages of stuff. I don't know how to edit down into those bites and make it more meaningful. So I just applaud you all for both having the focus, but also the discipline to get it down to something people will read versus, an academic paper, which I will read.
I don't think I'm going to argue with you. I don't think you should do it that way. I think you should write whatever the hell you want to write. Like write about what you care about the way
Sure.
you care about it. And like not saying like toss craft and like the artistry of it out the window, right? Like don't like I think you should edit your work pretty hard, but I think I do like I think we all should, right? But you know the thing that drives me nuts on one of the things that drives me nuts, I know there are a lot on LinkedIn, is like when people say I'm going to start a blog, what would you like me to write about?
Right. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like,
I understand.
no.
Like I think every brain works differently, and I think like Bill said, you're gonna find the people that like the way you write and the way you organize things or not, right? Like maybe some people like to read a very organized thing, like me, and then there you have people that don't just want to go on the you know
It-
on the
yeah,
writer's trip
right.
and imagination, right? So
I don't like
that's
I don't like solving for my audience, right? Like put out good work and stuff that you care about, stuff that's you've vetted and you've edited and you've done a good job on, and if that's a couple hundred people or a couple 100,000, like God bless. That's the list.
Mhm.
Like it's not about, not that I don't like, I'm grateful when people read my work, and I'm grateful when people take the time and spend the time and their time and attention on that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I don't think any writer should write for the audience, right? Like I would write
for yourself, really.
like I'd publish
Yeah.
it out
Yeah.
there. Like if I was my only subscriber, I'd still publish it. And
Yeah.
for better or for worse, like that, I mean, that's probably a terrible marketing strategy, and Chris can tell me that.
Right.
But like that,
We want more.
That's
we want
where
more
the-
fiery takes from Bill.
yeah,
Burn it
yeah,
down.
another,
Arsonist.
yeah.
Actually, I actually
all at once.
Bill is
I actually
an
have
arsonist.
I have a question for David actually on this specific thing I was thinking about, and I think his comment about the organization helped me kind of segue this question. How do you feel about AI use in writing, like in terms of organizing your thoughts or relying on it or not using it at all? I kind of want to get everybody's perspective on that because it's like, to me, I feel like AI is okay as long as the creative part comes from you. Like if you have a thought and maybe AI can help you organize things, maybe I see an okay use with that part of it. So, but I want to see what everybody else thinks of that.
And you want me to start, huh? Let me just say, first
Yep.
of all, the documents I write today that get published are boring internal technical documents, software requirement documents, technical specifications. I'll use ChatGPT or some Gemini tool all day long for that because it's helping you structure. Here's 7 things we've pulled together. Let's structure this into one document. And that's not very exciting. I will say, I mentioned earlier, I've written a bunch of stuff before, and I have loaded that up before just to say, help me make some sense of this. Like, give me an outline. And I found that really helpful for it to maybe this is supporting Bill's comment. I had a bunch of unstructured thoughts. I put them in a flow. I'm writing a piece that I told Greg about at one point that I've never finished. It's called Meditating with Cats, right? It's a proposition that cats in your life and meditating are very similar, and I can go into more detail at some point.
Subscribe.
I have some structure.
I want to
it.
read that one.
Give me chapters, right? Well, I need Greg to visualize it for me, but give me chapters.
Just a cat on somebody's lap, and then they can't get up, so they're
There's
meditating
five
for
cats on your
hours.
lap. There's 5
Yeah.
cats on your lap in mine.
Yeah.
You can't move. But that's the point.
Gotcha.
I have no problem using it for structure.
Okay.
And that was very helpful. Here's my garbage or garbage in. Help me just put it in a format that might make it more readable, but didn't change my words. It just gave me some just maybe some headers. I think it was very useful. I'd love to hear how and if other people use AI for their writing.
You use it, Bill? You use AI to write, or
all the time.
do you use it in any way? Okay. And
Yeah, me?
how's
yeah,
that?
I use it once in a
Yeah.
while. I
Once in
use it a
while.
lot. I don't really use it for the creative aspect because I don't want to, right? Like that's the part I like doing. So I don't want to give that up. There's a part of me, there's like a snobbish part of me that's like, well, if you're using it for that, but that's probably a little snobby and elitist on my part. I use it a lot for organization. I use it a lot for segues. Like my brain tends to jump around. So, some help with segues is very, makes my writing a lot better, I think. Because I write some occasionally modestly provocative things, I'll use it a lot for what I call steel manning arguments. Like create a persona and like come at me as hard as you can, like punch holes in this, right? Like, and like
That's interesting.
yeah, like well, because
Yeah.
if I hand this to a friend and they're like, I don't really want to go hard at you, Bill. Like you're insane. But
Yeah. You're right. Like, be as honest as possible, and
right,
the
like
robot will be right.
right. Well, or like rip it to shreds and like let me see if I can
Yeah.
like what I'm. No, I think it's wrong. No, I think it's right. Like
Just makes it better.
yeah, I think it makes it, and it's kind of like, to me, it's like, oh, you should only. It's like only back in the day with like football. American football players were told not to lift weights because they weren't training the right muscles, right?
Right. Go
And now-
Eagles. Go Eagles,
Right,
by the way.
go Birds.
Talking about
Birds.
it. Anyway. Sorry.
But now we're like, yeah, that's just a part of the training, a part of the understanding, right? Like, a part of how we like the finished product. And I think about using AI that way. And I mean, so people have been critical of it. Like, oh, if you're lazy about using AI, you could experience cognitive decline. It's like, yeah, that person didn't read that article very well, right? Like that's not even a peer-reviewed study. So even if if you can not use AI and still screw up, right? Like you can still be intellectually lazy and sloppy, even if you don't use these tools. Like, and where's the line, right? Like, do you stop? Like, do you not use autocorrect anymore? Do you not use spell check? Like, do you write everything by hand?
Or
like,
copy and paste?
I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. But if you're putting out something out there as your own writing, and it's what they call AI slop, and you can tell it's just bad writing, it's still your writing that's bad.
Right.
Like you're still responsible for this bit of bad writing. Well, AI wrote it. It's like one of my, I think my first article on Substack, I hadn't really found my swing, like my style, and I was mimicking the AI style, right? It wasn't AI written. It was me copying a structure and a kind of a flavor that I thought was like more acceptable than me. And it sucks. Like it's just like, and it looks like an AI wrote it because I was writing like an AI, and I leave it up there because it's a good example of like bad writing's bad writing.
Well, don't you guys feel like when you're writing, especially creative, like if you're writing medical records or technical stuff, AI is great for that. It'll polish a turd. You can have your scribe thing. Hey, it'll translate into appropriate medical stuff. But if you're writing creatively, like this is my mentality. I'm like, I am trying to put my heart into this thing. I'm trying to like imbue this with like a story that's very meaningful. And this robotic computer, like it doesn't know that. It'll pretend like it does. It'll say like, I totally get it, but it misses it so often. So it's like, for me, creative writing, like it really has to come from the heart. And often that's like sub-perceptual. Like a lot of times when I write, I don't even know what I'm trying to say until I get to the very end and I go through a second draft and I'm like, oh, that was what I was trying to uncover there. And that's a cool process. I don't know if you guys have that experience too, where you're like, whoa, you just surprise yourself with what comes out.
I agree. I think I call it like, I don't really have writer's block anymore. I just haven't found what I'm looking for yet. These iterations and these drafts, and like you're just digging for it, right? Like it's there. It's not everywhere, but it's there to be found. And if you put the work in, you put the time in, like I don't always have the time, but like if you spend the time, you'll find it.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Sammy as well. How do you use AI, if at all? And like how, what kind of advice you give people that want to write about that part?
I've toyed around with it a bit. I think sometimes it's helpful. AI is really good at creating outlines. So like how Dave said, he's like, you put a really good structure thing. Sometimes I use AI to like help me create the structure and create the outline. And then I follow that path because similar to Bill, I have ADHD. So I'm, spitting stuff out, and sometimes it's a little bit all over the place. Sometimes I just write in prose and follow a stream of thought. But if I'm trying to create a long form piece where I'm trying to drive a point home, sometimes I'll create an outline with AI, and I find that's really helpful. But these days, like, the voice of ChatGPT is so obvious, and I'm not, if you have information to share, I don't know, you're in a hurry, or I don't know. But like, for me, like, as Greg said, I'm trying to put my thoughts, my opinions, my reflections, myself out there. And ChatGPT isn't a good reflection of self.
Gotcha.
And
I agree with
I
that.
think it's what we want to, like, as one of your readers, right? As one of Greg's like, I want your voice, your
That's what you
perspective,
follow.
your insight. Yeah. I don't.
You're following a person.
I'm not there for like your steady production of content. It's like your voice and your perspective, right? I'd much rather see one article a month that's distinctly you than 4 that are like, yep, she did an AI thing with that one. And I think that's one of the things, like, potential creators need to get the hell over, right? Like, there is something raw about this. You're going to get critical letters. You're going to get hate mail. You're going to get people who scorn and scoff and don't have anything nice to say to you. Do it anyway.
Right.
Create it anyway. Like, having the guts to do what you do authentically and well. I'm here for it. That's what I want from creators. I don't want the polished version. I don't want the CEO, sanitized stories and these, like, hero worship that we have for, politicians and C-suite execs. Like, if you've got, I want the warts and all. Like, I want the failures and the flaws and the real story. And the authenticity is everything to me.
And I think, Bill, that authenticity word is the highlight word for me, for sure. Because I was just talking to my partner yesterday about the fear that at some point AI is going to create novels. It's kind of a fun exercise. You sit around and say, I've got a great idea. You imagine a world 10 years from now, you can actually watch the movie of that idea unfold in real life because AI is going to create it. It's going to be so entertaining, but it's going to lack that authenticity and the creativity. And I think we have an obligation as humans to stay connected and to continue to seek that authenticity, like this group gives us. We have an obligation because it's going to be harder and harder to smoke out the slop, like you said, at some point. But the real people will always come to the surface. I believe that.
Yeah, because it's like watching a Martin Scorsese film versus watching like a fast production Netflix. Like, there is literally no comparison to historic Hollywood with, like, new age, fast production, kind of cheap Netflix films.
Yeah.
There's just no comparison. And that's what it feels like, ChatGPT versus like authentic.
I think that's where, like, in creating, like, writing or creating whatever, that is what people look for, is that the person doing it is them authentic. And like you said, Sammy, they like that person for what they do and what they create almost as much as what they're creating, right? Like, once you like somebody's style, for the most part, you're gonna want to see more because it's them, not so much. Even if it's completely different the next time, it might be really good too, but it's because it's them creating. Like Greg's cartoons, right? Like, that's so authentic and hand-drawn. And have you done that in AI, Greg? Have you tried doing a cartoon in AI?
I tried.
See what the heck happens?
Yeah, I tried. It sucks. It's like it's
shit. It's probably shit. It's like, that's not even funny.
It's not like Bill's kind of like self-deprecating. It's like like you feel snooty when you're like, oh, it's got to come, like, I can't have like this taint of like a AI generation with like anything. But it's true. It's like, for a cartoon or for writing anything, it's like, why did I bother to do that? Like you guys were saying, like, we'd put it out there if nobody was watching, if nobody was reading. It's in here and it needs to come out. And it's like, there's no point in faking that or in saying, hey, I have this turd AI, just polish it and like get a bunch of likes. It's like, that's not really why you're doing it. not doing it for fame or recognition or anything. You're doing it because you're compelled to, for some reason. So it comes out. So like, yeah, I did early on. I was like, I really want these cartoons to be great. So I'll use AI, and then like, they had this like sheen where they kind of like superficially looked okay, but I would go back to it and I was like, God, I hate that. Like, this is not right. Actually, can I go on a brief tangent about this?
Yeah,
please.
So I write, but also I do visual art, and I'm reading this book called Drawing on the Right Hemisphere of the Brain, and it all ties into, you know, left and right hemispheric thinking, and there's a lot of like misunderstanding, like kind of psycho, like pop psych bullshit out there about that. But one of the things about like right brain intuition is that it's a very different mode of being. It's very intuitive. It's very like kind of sub-perceptual tracks, and it keeps you on. Like, so the goal with drawing is always to get into that mode, because you can actually see things differently. Like when I'm drawing a lot of cartoons, and if I look up and I look at a chair, I literally see that chair's outline with pen and ink. Like I literally see the world in cartoons after I've been drawing for a few hours. But anyway, the point of that is to say, like when I'm writing, it's the same thing. Like you really do lose yourself, and you get put into this mode where you can just sort of like uncover what's already there. You know, Stephen King, I think in that book on writing, he talks about how writing a story is like discovering an artifact. It's like you just got to go delicately around it, and you really got to feel it and sort of let go of your conscious self. And then you can uncover this thing. And like, yeah, you get better by doing it a bunch, and you learn craft and you learn technique, and you learn the difference between M dashes and N dashes and when to use a semicolon. I don't know any of that stuff yet. But the point is, like, if you're really locked into that for creative stuff, you're locked into that intuition, you can develop this more like holistic sense of what you're trying to produce, I think.
Yes, it makes you more yourself.
Yeah.
More your best self, I think, if you let it.
Yeah.
Like
it helps you to develop that self.
Yeah, to strengthen it and develop it. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned On Writing. I think that's an awesome book on writing. I'm not a Stephen King fan at all. Like I don't really like his work, but that is an awesome book.
Yeah.
While we're talking about that, I will also mention that Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act, was terrible.
Yeah, well written.
It was awful, man. I could use that book as an emetic. I'll tell you what, like that was garbage.
I thought it was good. Everything in there was like, this is true and this is good advice, but it is so bland. It's so boringly written. It's terrible.
It feels like advice to people who manage creative people, not creative people.
That's fair. Yeah.
Huh. Well, that was my Christmas gift. I'll take it off my list, I guess.
On Writing's better. That's the one I'd recommend. What do you guys?
Have you guys read the War of Art? Yeah. The War of Art.
No, it's on my list though.
War of Art is so great. It's so great. Stephen Pressfield. He's he wrote what's Legend of Bagger Vance and a couple other ones, but he's got the War of Art, and it's like, if you have like any sort of creative inkling at all, which I believe everybody does, and you read that, like that really fired me up on taking it more seriously.
Since you're talking about books and authors, like, do you think of any veterinarians that have written books that have gotten pretty like mainstream? You know, any authors that you're like, oh, he's a vet, or he was a vet, and he has this famous book.
Elliot Garber.
I've got a few on my list.
I have a few here too. So
Baxter Black was great. The cowboy poet. He was a veterinarian. I mean, you know, everybody, James Herriot. You know, I still quote James Herriot in my work.
Who do you have, Sammy?
Yeah, who you got?
I have What It Takes to Save a Life, A Veterinarian's Quest for Healing and Hope by Quayne Stewart. That's something I just added to my list, but I haven't read it yet. And now I'm scrolling through my Goodreads. I do have another one as well.
So I came across Nick Trout. You guys know Nick Trout?
Mm-mm.
He writes about the human-animal bond a lot. And I've read a few. I haven't read the whole book, but I read some summaries, and I think it really hits on at least my personal reason to be a vet, and how the patient and the animal and that bond you have as a human with that animal, it's really the center of what we do, and it should be like the main thing we focus on as vets. I think he hits hard on that concept of, why we love animals, why we want them healthy, and how our purpose in life is for that animal. Maybe a little bit to their owners, but that animal is like the center of what we do, and I think he communicates that pretty well. So,
Who's the author? Troy?
Nick Trout,
Oh, Nick
Trout.
Trout.
Yeah.
There's this, has anybody
I
read,
think
I also like all these books that aren't like I know this is we're veterinarians and we're veterinary professionals here, but like I'm a huge fan of like Atul Gawande, of Eric Topol, of Carl Sagan, of Stephen Johnson, of Jane Goodall just passed away, right? Like of these people who wrote about science and medicine and animals from a different perspective. Like James Michener has a bunch of, like, he has a collection, like he's written about animals a lot and he kind of collected them into one. Like these are, I don't think you should be veterinary specific and looking for these things, because people write beautiful, like really incredible things about science and medicine and art that just like,
oh yeah, for sure,
with respect to my colleague, like way better than I write. Like I just,
oh yeah. And like Sammy said, she even found a novel that the veterinarian was the main character.
Yeah,
actually did a good job,
section,
so
right? Like
things are getting better.
Atul Gawande is great. I'm glad you mentioned him. Complications is like, I feel like that should be required reading for anybody in any medical profession.
That better.
So perfect.
Which one?
Complications, Atul Gawande. He talks about, I think he's talked about his residency training as a surgeon, and it's just like, because like you don't get these perspectives really in school. You don't get the like impossible situations that you're put in, and here's this guy that just writes like brilliantly about it, and he takes you into his head, right? He's like a surgeon, he's the smart guy, and then he talks about like hesitating with an incision, like under duress, and he's like all this great stuff, and it's really like that's the thing that I experienced constantly especially as a new grad, where I was like, I really don't feel like I'm supposed to be here. It's all the imposter syndrome. You're like, oh my God, the beeping is scary. What the hell does that EKG mean? I don't know. But like, you're not seeing somebody else write about that and say, and here's what I did, and here's how I handled it. And it wasn't perfect. And it wasn't like the textbook said it's supposed to be, but like, this is what it really is so, so helpful to see that. I think for anybody, I mean, you can write in a way that, you're just talking to veterinarians about this, but you can also write in a way that's like, hey, everybody come on in and let me share this experience that I had and see what it's like, see what it's like.
Yes, I love a medical memoir. Have you guys read This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay?
No.
Man, that was one of the best books I read this year. This Is Going to Hurt, Diaries of a Junior Doctor. And it's this guy who's a human doctor in the UK, and he talks about working in the NHS, and he takes you through his entire residency, fellowship, etc., like day by day, like what he wrote in his journal, what he saw, what he experienced. And it's fantastic. It has this like dry British humor, so it's hilarious, but also devastating. And he puts you in the room and he really shares the experiences. And even though we're in veterinary medicine and not human medicine, it's so resonant what he experiences. I highly recommend.
I feel like we should start a book club for sure. I just want to quickly mention Atul Gawande. The name sounded familiar. It's because I read one of his books. My brother shared it with me, called Being Mortal.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Great book.
His father was ill.
Mm-hmm.
They literally go to two of the best specialists they can think of, and they get contradictory information or different opinions. And so it allowed him as a practitioner to also recognize that there's an imperfection to this art of especially medicine. The book is really telling. He had to help his dad navigate a course, which he wasn't quite sure how to navigate it. And in it, he does a lot of just really really approachable thinking about how to navigate. I'm sure it's relevant to veterinary medicine too. How we have to figure out what the best course of as pet owners and veterinarians together, and there's always more than one.
I think it's also important to mention the authors, the doctors who write fiction, right? Like Michael Crichton was a graduate of Harvard Medical School. Abraham Verghese teaches medicine at Stanford. Like these are awesome best-selling authors who, I mean, completely different, right? Like one's science fiction and Verghese is, you know, a heartbreaker, but an incredible novel that, like, if you've read Cutting for Stone, and that's an option too. Like I want more people to be creative and to take swings like this, right?
It makes you wonder now if the author of Sammy's book is a veterinarian, like fiction.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I also love medical historians like Siddhartha Mukherjee. He wrote The Emperor of All Maladies.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
He was The Song of the Cell too.
Yeah. And The Gene. The Gene is amazing.
Yes. And he just wrote The Gene as well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you guys
bad, right?
about, could I ask, when you guys write about animals too, like, do you find yourself trying to inhabit the animal as a character? Like I've written a few pieces like from the perspective of the animal. That's always really fun. Like I wrote one about like the squirrels in the park in my neighborhood, and it's like I wrote like it's like an op-ed to the local newspaper. It's like from the squirrels. It's like, hey, could you put your fucking dog on a leash? You know, like I'm out here trying to get food, and I got to keep running to the tree, and like just put the dog on a leash. And
that's funny.
Like, that was fun. It was really fun.
Huh.
That's a fun way to write. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, that's a really neat perspective.
Yeah,
I think like that.
We're uniquely suited to do that. Who understands animals better than us and their experience? We are their.
You know how people. Yeah, right. So, like people think we can hear animals talk, like Dr. Dolittle. Like people actually have asked me something along those lines.
Like what?
Like, do you understand what they're thinking? It's like, I think they only just want to get the fuck out of the room and not get needles
and so
or get
to that
poked.
end, yeah, I do understand.
And that's sad. Yes, it's very sad to imagine what they're thinking. So I'd rather not. You know, but that's that's definitely something that we're always curious about. You know, like how the animal feels, how they're thinking, and I think portraying that creatively in writing, it's really interesting because then I see what your take is, and then Bill's take, or you know, it's really interesting because it's coming from you. Like going back to the authenticity part, you know, I just want to see how Greg sees the world through a squirrel, right? Not anybody else, just him, right? So I think that's the value of, you know, doing all the writing and getting out there. So
when you talk about community and connection and all these things, like this is where it's at. It's not, I mean, I do it all the time too, but like, it's not sharing memes or liking posts or anything else. Like I want Dave's take. I want Chris's take, Greg, Sammy, John's. Like, I want that communication from you. Like, I want that opinion, that perspective from those people. That's really what I want here. And you don't have to believe everything you think, or you can't, you know, I can't do what Sammy or Greg does. I have to do what I do. But there's still this commonality and this connection when we do it.
I think we would be remiss to exclude, though, like we all do it for those reasons, right? We all do it for self-expression and for community and, you know, to be seen or to share or, you know, but I think there is the element of it, which maybe Chris can speak to a bit, is it is also a marketing device. And some people are writing with the intention of growing their readership, which is a business move. And I think that is also an offering to the veterinary community who is struggling in clinic exclusive work, that it also is a way to create opportunities, right? So for example, everyone in this room met through writing because we started to read each other and then we all ended up in this group together. It's an opportunity.
Right.
And a lot of opportunities have come to me through writing. I don't write for my audience. I write to share my experience. But a lot of opportunities have come through there. And it is a way for people to create a more balanced work life if you can bring in those opportunities so you don't have to rely on clinical practice exclusively if you're burned out.
Yeah,
I think
good
that's
point.
true. And I mean, Sammy has a lot more followers than I do, right? Like a lot more subscribers. Like I've made tens of dollars from writing. Um, I, I do. I think I want to revise my earlier comment. Like I don't write. Like cause you know, when I hear I say I don't write for my audience, I guess I kind of do. Like you say you write to share your experience. Like yeah, I do kind of write to share what I think is cool or interesting or infuriating. Like I do write for the purpose of sharing. And I guess I don't do it for the number of subscribers. I just do it because I think this is like
Important. Or,
this is important or this is important to me.
yeah.
I think we get at least for me, I get a point in life where I've done enough to feel like I just want to leave something behind. And congrats, Dave, on your podcast. Dave and some of his you know friends started a podcast called Impact Over Optics, and you should listen to it.
Thanks, John.
One thing, yeah, man. Congrats on that. Basically, I feel like as leaders, we need to, focus on leaving some kind of legacy, and teaching the next generation something. And I think by writing, Bill, we kind of feel like we're leaving something behind from what we've learned. And I think that legacy becomes really our purpose or a big part of our purpose because we kind of start realizing we're not going to be here forever, and I feel like some of the things I've learned, somebody should hear about them, even if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I don't care about the numbers and the results and the likes and the views or whatever, as long as we've left this like almost like a time capsule that could help somebody else in the future, and that's
Sure.
part of what
Yeah.
we do, the writing and all that too, I guess.
That's like the last lecture by Randy Pausch. Have you guys read that? He was a professor at Carnegie Mellon University in engineering, and he was served with a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, which is effectively a death sentence. This was like I think in the 90s or like early 2000s, and he gives his last lecture. It's custom for professors to give a last lecture at their university when they're retiring, and so they honored him with a last lecture. And he goes through a whole lecture about, and then it's kind of like a memoir, but also lessons that he's learned through his life, et cetera. And then at the end, he's like, "There's one last trick, and you know what it is? I didn't write this for any of you. It was for my kids." Because there were lessons that he can also share. His kids were all really young when he passed. And we are doing that as well, right? For the people in this room that have kids or have family who
100%.
What is it like for us? And yeah, why was my dad always gone and working and stressed and, this and that? And they're going to look back and they're going to understand.
I write and publish letters to Will. Like you can read them. You can search "Dear Will" on my Substack, and you'll read a couple of the letters.
Yeah, you did, and it was really sweet. I did. I think I read the first one.
And I'm going to need John to like run through the AI filter and like spit out all the books you've recommended on this for me because I can't keep up. I do want to get more tactical because I know Bill and Sam, you both have Substacks, and I said earlier that I write all the time, but I never brave enough to publish. What have you guys found? The medium probably is less important, but what have you done personally to just get something published? What's been the one or two tips that you can share with, especially if we have listeners, to just get started? What would you recommend? Even drawing, Greg.
For me, I started with a challenge. I joined. So my partner has a company around writing and teaching other people to write online, and he has this challenge, this writing challenge. It's called Ship 30 for 30, and I actually joined that challenge. And it's they give you some lessons every day and teach you how to write online, and then at the end of each day you have to ship, so post something. And so it was a really good way to start writing because they get you in the habit of reserving time in your day to write. They call it the sacred hours. Every single day you write at this time, and every single day you post at a certain time, and you build it into your routine in a way that allows it to stick. And you have to just kind of I feel like you have to get in the habit of just breaking the fear and just posting, even if it feels imperfect. You know what I mean?
That's great.
And
I
then
love that.
it becomes a bit more from
That's
there.
great. Very tactical. I love that. I didn't know that challenge existed. That's awesome.
Mm.
That's totally, yeah. My kind of very similar. Like 2.5 years ago, I was like, I have to say stuff. So I bought a website, and I just wrote this crazy rambling thing, and my first post was like, this is me rambling, basically. And it's just like, but now it's out there and nobody read it. And I was like, whoo, why was that so intense? But it's just, yeah, it's like consistently just like making stuff, putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I even over index on like overthinking it. So in this weird way of like double reverse made myself weird by like intentionally writing. So I'm like, I know this is so weird that like it has no market value. And like, that's why I'm focusing on it. And I'm like putting it out there. Like I went to Great Wolf Lodge and I wrote like a surf report on it.
That was
like,
really cool. Yeah.
This is like for an audience of nobody, like my two buddies that that have kids that surf, and like somehow that'll be relevant. But it's just like very, you got to be really brave to put something out there, because it's imperfect, and it's like you've opened your heart up. If you're really writing something from the heart, you're putting it out there, and there's this exposure. But it's like, you have to do that, and you kind of have to be relentless about it. Like the number of times I've been rejected, for years I would try to get places to publish my cartoons. And like, it finally just happened that I had a relationship with the editor of Veterinary Practice News. And I was like, I pitched her the idea of the cartoons. But this is like after years and years and years of submitting and like putting these out there, and like, just hearing crickets forever. But like when it's in there and it's coming out anyway, finding the avenue and then just staying at it, and yeah, keeping it going, keeping that time sacred, being consistent, all that stuff. Eventually it will come. There's only so many people that are willing to crawl on their bellies far enough to keep doing it, at this point. And there's like, we're talking to them right now. We're not all ultra successful writers, but there are people reading our stuff. There are people that care about our stuff, and we've just felt compelled to do it for long enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say I've got a couple of quotes. I want to stories and stuff I want to share on that. Like,
yeah, we're coming down to like the last 10 minutes, so
I'll make it
wanted
fast,
to give you a heads up. Yeah,
I'll make it fast. There's
good.
a probably apocryphal story about Frank Sinatra, who at the end of his life was asked like, "Oh, Frank, how much longer are you going to sing?" He kind of got pissed off at the guy and was like, I don't sing for money. Like, I sing because I'm a singer. Like, if you're a writer or you're an artist or you're like, you do it because it's who you are, right? Like, Sammy identifies as a writer. Like, I love that, right? Like, Greg calls himself a cartoonist. Like, it ends up in your resume before veterinarian does. And I think when you first start creating, it's usually like it's often because you've consumed a lot, right? Like you've looked at a lot of, you love movies, you love music, you love books.
We also read a lot, clearly.
Right. Yeah. Sammy and I, by the way, are like almost exactly the same number of books on Goodreads. Like it's well into the hundreds, but it's like, wow, that is weirdly precisely almost the same number. But like when you first start creating, your taste is really good and your ability to create probably isn't. So you have to get over, but you can tell your own work sucks, right? Like at first. So you got to keep going. You got to do it anyway and get past that until you're like, man, I am happy with this. And then 2 years from now, you're like, wow, I hate that. That's fine. But like, keep going until it's something you're happy with. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something that you're like, yeah, I like this. And the last thing is like, your work, whoever you are, isn't for everybody. So if you get rejections, if you get declines, if you get no thanks, like I publish articles all the time and I still get rejections, right? Like that's okay. Like, this one's not for us, Bill. Okay, I'll publish it somewhere else, or I'll publish it on my Substack, or I don't care. I like it. It's not about the validation or the likes or the clicks or, you know, the very modest amount of money you can make doing this. It's about creation. It's about creativity. It's about, you know, how you enter the world. And I think that is so much more important than, like, there are people who can teach you, Sammy's partner can teach you how to monetize it and how to get there. But, you know, to the aspiring authors or artists or whatever out there, like, make it. Somebody's going to be interested. And if they're not, you'll be better for having made it anyway.
Yeah.
It's not about everybody else. It's about, like, it's not about money. It's not, you know, you sing because you're a singer. That's what you do.
And like you said, somebody's out there is gonna like what you're doing. So really, don't. I think it's worse when you stress about that part versus when you just write it and put it out there, and eventually you see that somebody's gonna like it and enjoy it, and you know you can't force that moment. Just keep doing what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is quite a
Greg, you had
vulnerable
something?
thing, though.
It is a vulnerable thing.
Greg, you had something else?
Yeah,
Simon, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead, Simon.
No, I was just gonna say it is quite a vulnerable thing, though, to share, because it's not, if somebody doesn't like your work, it's not that they don't like you, but you do feel like it's a piece of you. It's you put your heart out there, and it's an expression of you. It's a piece of you, and so it is quite a vulnerable thing to do. You're sharing who you are, what you believe. It is quite a vulnerable thing, but yeah, all the best things in life are.
So,
and if you don't get a million likes on your post, that's okay.
I think that's important. And there's a Philly hockey mascot called Gritty, who is this, like, orange Muppet looking methadone nightmare of a creature, right? And when he first came out, the whole city of Philadelphia was like, what is that thing? And then the rest of the country was like, what the hell is that? And Philly went like, hey, fuck off, that's our guy, right? Like, you leave him alone, he's a national treasure. And, like, I think that's the attitude you got to get. Like, okay, this is really vulnerable, this is me, and it's like, I'm allowed to criticize this work, and if somebody else comes for it too hard, like, bring it the fuck on, right? Yeah. And like, to all those people out there, like, I will stand next to you for that moment. Yeah. Like, I am here for it. Like, have the guts to do it. Like, I'm on your, like, I am on the side of the creators come hell or high water.
That's where the authenticity, like the ring of truth at the heart of the story, if you have that and you're listening to it and it's in there, like, people can come in, they can misunderstand it, they can click the headline and not get it. But, like, if you know, like, you went deep into your soul, you pulled this thing out, it was important to you, you wanted to put it in there, that will withstand, I mean, the entire world of criticism. You know, like, especially like, this is about medicine. I would write a lot about experiences I had mostly on the ER floor. And I was like, this was crazy. But, like, I was really trying in this situation to be a good veterinarian, to be helpful. And, like, I saw all this craziness and I just, like, I'm like, okay, I was there. I truly saw this. I saw this death. I saw this suffering. I saw these human emotions. And, like, I'm going to document that with my writing, but, like, it will ring true because it's not for anybody. It's not, there's no fakeness. There's no falsity here. Like, it really happened. I really saw this happen to a person and to an animal. And, like, it does feel important to document, you know, and I'm going to do it in my weird way, whatever, my unique way, you know, whether it's a cartoon or whatever, but it's all there. It's all like, it's true, you know, and that really helps when somebody else comes into it and they go, oh, did that really happen? Did that really happen? It's like, no, I was there. Like, I remember this. This is a real thing that was important.
Especially when it's something crazy that you can relate to, and you're like, wow, I wasn't the only one that had to swim around kids at the Great Wolf Lodge and surf waves of kids and parents with alcoholic beverages and trying to keep their kids alive at a pool. You know, it's you know, so yeah, I think we just need to keep doing what we're doing, and you know, I think what the legacy we leave behind is really what is gonna be, you know, the key here.
And I encourage more vets to do the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if anybody's out there thinking if they should, I think they should publish or post or, you know, write articles on what they're thinking, because, you know, it'd be good for everybody to know, basically. You have any
waging
final
war
thoughts?
against AI generated content and
Yes.
putting authentic voices,
Yeah.
authentic veterinary voices out there, showing them what it's really like, what it's really going on, and factual medical advice would also be good.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
That's why we do it, I think.
Absolutely.
All right. Anybody has any final thoughts on this before we close up? Or down to the last few minutes here. I think out of anything, if anything, we're gonna write a post with all the books. If you get anything out of this hour, if you made
We
it
might get a
through
book
like
club
all
out of
this time,
hour.
and you made it through, and you're here right now, watch for a post with all the books, veterinary or not, that we're gonna post, because I think that we got a really nice list here, and we'll get it out there. And I appreciate you all, being here, giving your time for this project, and people listening later. I hope you got something out of this. I think I enjoy it, talking about this, especially with the people we have. I think we're very lucky to be able to get these 6 people together for an hour. It's like something impossible that we're accomplishing. So I appreciate you all.
Love this
All right.
team. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, John.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. We're going to have another conversation. We'll stay tuned.
Nice. The outro looks good. Little
It
flashing
did, right?